pressure, no more time. Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do. If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through. A way to break through.
What's going on, everyone? Hope you all are having a fantastic day. So for the rest of this video, I want to talk to you about progressive overload. So first off, what is progressive overload? Well, if you are trying to build muscle or lose fat or lose fat, then you should, pay attention and, take notes. So first off, progressive overload. The Google term is this principle involves continually increasing the demands on the musculoskeletal system to continually make gains in muscle size, strength, and endurance. Simply put, in order to get bigger and stronger, you must continually make your muscles work harder than they're used to. So, we'll talk building muscle, right? Right now, in times like this, we're all in quarantine, gyms are closed, I hear they're about to reopen. So how can you go about progressive overload? How can you, still make gains? How can you keep your gains, etc., etc.? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now, there's 3, and I want to add a 4th when it comes to progressive overload, as far as like what people usually do. I'll use myself an example. So one of my body parts that had the most growth, it could be genetics or anything like that, but based on my experience and my knowledge, for me, the body parts that grew the most were my legs. I have toothpick arms, but my legs are pretty massive. I'm not saying they're the only massive legs in the world, because they're not. I'm just speaking based on my experience, okay? So back then I didn't know what progressive overload was, but I was doing it, okay? And then once I got certified as a trainer, and I'm like, okay, makes sense. So the first way to do progressive overload, all right, the most simplest way of them all, is to add more weight. Am I right? So have you ever been to the gym and you are doing, let's just say, your 3 sets of 10, and you do, you're warming up, then you get to your first working set, you're like, oh, I think I can get, another set. Let's go up in weight, right? That's like, or when you're doing like one of the machines, and you switch to the pin and you put it to a heavier weight. That's by far the most common and most simplest one. Just add more weight. That's one way of doing progressive overload. The second way is add more reps, right? That is by far the most common. Okay, have you ever done your 3 sets of 10, and then after your set, or however many sets, everyone's different, but then after that you're like, man, I could have done more. And some people do it, some people don't, and they go back and do more reps, right? So that's the second way to do progressive overload. Okay, the third way is adding more sets to your training regimen, your routine, or the workout of the day, whatever you're doing. That is the third way to do progressive overload, adding more sets. And I'm sure you know or you understand, but if you don't, you're doing your, going back to the previous example, you're doing your 3 sets of 10, and then you get that high, right? That dopamine high, the endorphins are shooting, skyrocketing. You're like, let's go back and do another set. Especially, for me, when I have a training partner, right? And I see them, they're amped up, they're putting in the work. Then I'm like, yeah, let's go back and do some more. So that's the third way. The first 3 ways of progressive overload is: number 1, adding more weight; number 2, adding more reps; number 3 is adding more sets; and number 4, the demand, how high of a demand put on the muscle. So let me explain. If the only way to get bigger, stronger, and grow is you have to lift ridiculously heavy, then that's like saying a lot of older fit people, athletes with injuries like myself with my lower back, that we can never grow muscle. Obviously diet plays a big part, nutrition plays a big part, but I'm gonna stick to the training part. That's like saying people like us, and if I left anyone out, then by all means, that's like saying we will never be able to grow muscle, things like that. So that fourth one, and then with quarantine, right? Not many people out there have access to weight. Not many people can get dumbbells and barbells, right? So that's like saying we will never grow muscle because you have to lift heavy and all that. Not saying not lifting heavy is going to get you there. So let me put it this way: doing a bunch of curls with 5 pounds just won't cut it. A lot of like supersetting, giant sets, quadruple, whatever, slowing down the tempo of the lift, time under tension, and obviously minimal rest. That you can only lift so much as far as weight when you incorporate these things. So why am I saying this? Well, if you're at home during this time, because gyms aren't open yet, and you're trying to come up with ways to keep your gains or make more gains, right? Aside from nutrition, when it comes to training, keep these in mind. Obviously, you can only lift so much at home, right? If you have weight, that's freaking awesome. Kudos to you. But for those of you out there who don't have that much weight, get creative. get resourceful, right? Make, put that muscle, whatever you're training, on high demand, right? For example, like, don't just say, okay, well, high demand, let me just lift 5-pound dumbbells for 10,000 reps. I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, like, if you have a book bag and some books, put that in there, right? And then after that, if you have a table, right, you can do like one of those inverted pull-ups, right? But you're working the bicep, right? So get creative. Don't let this quarantine stop you from, keeping or even making gains. If you need help or anything like that, feel free to reach out. Be more than happy to, see what you got, see what we're working with. Other than that, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, it would mean the world to me if you shared it. Go ahead and like it. Subscribe to my channel for more helpful content. Other than that, stay safe and talk to you soon. Take care.